Strategy number 5 of the Principalities Power Playbook: the taking of other people's things, the taking of other people's resources. Straight out of the playbook is Genesis 15, 18 to 21. On the same day, the Lord made a covenant, a promise, a pledge with Abram, saying, "To your descendants, I have given this land. I have given this land." So they're they're giving land that does not belong to them. We're just going to take your land. There are people in the land, but we're going to take your land. On the same day, the Lord made a covenant promise pledge with Abram, saying, "To your descendants, I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land of the Canaanites and the Kenizzites and the Kadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rahim, the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgathites and the Jebusites. All these people, all these countries, all these nations, I'm just going to give you their land because you're special. You have shown your commitment to me. You've pledged yourself, you've made your sacrifices to this idea. And so now you deserve to get other people's land. All these people are in their land, living in their land, on their land. But you now, for some reason, because you're special, you get to go and take their land. Right? So this is straight out of the Principalities playbook of how you take other people's stuff, you take other people's resources, you take countries, you take people, you take the resources in their countries. The Principality Power Playbook shows that you take other people's resources. A very interesting step in taking other people's stuff in strategy 5 of the Principalities Power Playbook is doing a military surveillance operation of the things that you're going to take, right? So this is very important. So if you look at Genesis 13, starting verse 17, it says, "Arise, walk, make a thorough reconnaissance around in the land, through its length and its width, for I will give it to you." So I'm going to send you there like you're a foreigner, a guest, but you're supposed to go there and make sure you do your measurements, you do all your assessments, you survey the land because you need to know how you're going to go in there to take these resources. Then Abraham broke camp and moved his tent and came and settled by the grove of the great Terebinth, the oak tree of Mamre, the Amorite, which are in Ebron. And there he built an altar to honor the Lord. So the altar really is a military site, the altar. So the altar is something that's now been set up, a group of people, some operation, something was created there to start gathering data, um, assessing the situation, making sure that you have plants in the land, so that there will come a time when they are activated, right? So one of this very important step in the taking of other people's things is to do a thorough survey, analysis, assessment of the land, to create a plan to figure out how are you going to take this land, take resources, take children, take what doesn't belong to you. How are you going to take this? So this is straight out of the Principalities Power Playbook. Do you see any of these strategies in the world today? So strategy 5 in the Principalities Power Playbook is the taking of other people's resources. So let's read Deuteronomy 6, verses 10 to 15. Then it shall come about when the Lord your God brings you into the land which he swore, solemnly promised to give you, your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you a land with great and splendid cities which you did not build, and houses full of all good things which you did not fill, and you excavated cisterns, wells which you did not dig out, and vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you eat and are full and satisfied. Then beware that you do not forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall fear only the Lord your God, and you shall serve him with awe-filled reverence and profound respect, and swear oaths by his name alone. You shall not follow other gods, any of the gods of the peoples who surround you. For the Lord, if anyone is trying to talk to you and explain rationality and sanity, oh no, you should not tolerate any of that. You shall not follow any rationality, any good reason, any logic. You shall not follow other gods, any of the gods of the peoples who surround you. For the Lord your God is among you, for the Lord your God who is among you is a jealous, impassioned God, demanding what is rightfully and uniquely his. Otherwise, the anger of the Lord your God will be kindled and burned against you, and he will destroy you from off the face of the earth. So, because you're the special people, because you're in this relationship and you have this idea that you're supposed to be great or different in some way than you are, now you feel impassioned to go take other people's resources that do not belong to you. Do you see this in society anywhere? This is principalities power playbook. These are the strategies. The idea that somehow you're special. There is a sign out there. You also commit to the idea and you start to cut on your body to show you brand yourself in some way. Your dress has to be a certain way. And now that emboldens you to go start taking other people's resources. You take things that aren't yours, you take children that aren't yours, you take countries that aren't yours, you take people's other countries' resources that aren't yours. Principality power playbook. These are the strategies. You now feel emboldened to start taking other people's resources. Things that you did not build, vineyards that you did not plant, houses you didn't build. You start to take people's things. You start to take other countries' resources. This is straight out of the principalities power playbook. Do you see this anywhere in society today? Under strategy number 5, the taking of other people's stuff is a very, very important step in the process. It comes straight out of Joshua 24:12-13. I sent the hornet. This hornet is so powerful. I sent the hornet, that is the terror of you, before you, which drove the 2 kings of the Amorites out before you. But it was not by your sword or by your bow. I gave you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build, and you live in them. You eat from the vineyards and olive groves, which you did not plant. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth. Remove the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. Serve this idea. If it is unacceptable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. You're going to have to choose. Are you going to serve this idea, or are you going to go over there to the enemy? whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. This free, all this free stuff that I'm giving you, are you going to serve me and all this free stuff that I'm giving you, or are you going to go over there to the enemy? But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. But just look at verse 12, what it says. I sent the hornet, that is the terror of you, before you. That means what has happened in this strategy is there are mind viruses that are planted that terrifies people. So this has already been sent before the people even show up. So when they show up, the people are actually petrified. They're in fear. They have all kinds of doubts and insecurities because the mind virus has already taken root in them. This idea that was planted in the enemy before this actual special chosen people show up. I send the hornet, that is the terror of you, before you, which drove the two kings of the Amorites out before you. So you're going to terrorize their mind even before you get there. But it was not by your sword or by your bow. So they don't even have to fight really hard to get this land and to get the people's resources because there is going to be psychological warfare that is done on these people. And the psychological warfare that is going to be done on these people is so very interesting.